Hello. Oh gosh. Sorry about that. Trying to get it. Sorry. Trying to mess with it. It's hard to see when you do it beforehand. You cannot see what you're doing. So once you go live, then you can start messing with it. So I'm so sorry. I will stop doing that. So, how are you, Janice? Welcome. I wanted to show a couple of things. So, this is one of the ones from last week, and I wanted to show how well it dried. Like, look how, like, the depth kind of it gave. We are doing well. Busy. So, today we are going to do dip technique. I absolutely love the dip technique. You can use it dip on so many things. So earlier this week I did a video and I had dipped on these turtles. These are new things from the Dollar Tree. And so these were done with the dip technique. These have a little light in them, and I will paint the base and the back a little bit, a solid color. But here's with the dip technique, and we'll go over that here in a few. And then I also did this. This is another one from the Dollar Tree. And this is just a little crate. If you do coasters, these little crates fit perfectly 4 tiles in them for coasters. And then I also like to do a lot of these wood items, and I make them either into magnets or they can become an item that you can glue onto the background of another pour. So a lot of these wood items, these nicer, bigger, thick ones, are from a local store. Here, just a second. Let me look at this lighting. That's almost better lighting with that off. Oh, you love that video. Awesome. Good to know. Let me turn this one. Maybe that would be better. Just straight up in the air. So these bigger, thicker ones are from, you can get them at Michael's. You can get them, they're closer to like $1 each. They're a bit bigger. But then these one come like 10 of them in a package at Dollar Tree. And sometimes they have seasonal ones. We have some Easter ones we're going to do here in a little bit. But I'm going to show you dipping tiles, dipping canvases. We're going to do a whole bunch of photo paper. And then we're going to also do a bunch of these wood items, some Easter ones. That looks better. Okay, good. Thank you. So that Dollar Tree one was super fun because it was super, on a budget. That this is apple barrel pouring medium and apple barrel paints, and then these ones are Dollar Tree little wood items. So I make them into magnets. I just put a couple magnet strips on the back, or I add them to like a background, and then maybe do a sky background or something and add something like that. Or they also have these little tiny they have these at like Lowe's, these little tiles, and these are super tiny. I think they are 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches. You can also dip these. And then you add a magnet on the back. They're a little bit heavier, so they'll hold up. Like if you're going to use them for a refrigerator magnet, they're more decorative, or they'll hold about 1 piece of paper because they're very heavy. But with 2 magnets on there, and then they're very fun to do. Super easy little fun thing. And so I like to give those out in my when I haven't done it for 1.5 years, an in-person art show. But so what I've got here, let me go back to that thought. Finish my thought here. At my in-person art shows, I sell these, but I also, if a large purchase, I'll give them away. So what I have here is we're going to dip these. This is a 6 by 6 inch tile. And so we're first going to, I have a canvas that I still have the plastic on. And so we're going to actually pour our paint right onto this and then dip our tile on this. And then you can let that paint dry and peel it off. And so I like to let it dry, and then you can peel the paint off. So from those ones the other day I did, this is what was left. And it peels right off, but look at all the fun, what you can make with this. Look at all the, you can make jewelry, cabochons. You can make all kinds of different earrings and different stuff. But you can also, I like to collage with them. I like to cut them into shapes and collage. You can also run them through your Cricut. If you have skins, you can run those through your Cricut just fine. But I also will show you in a little bit painting on photo paper and all the stuff I do with it too. Okay, so we have a thing, and we're just gonna, I'm gonna put, hey, Sparkle Lori, slow down. Sparkle Lori Finzer, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. How are you ladies doing? So I am putting in just 2 drops of the treadmill oil in my black real quick. Mr. Doughboy, how are you doing? So I've got little shaky shake, and I'm going to put a black down, a little bit of black, a little bit of white. And I think we'll put a little bit of gray and a little bit of pink. And we'll dip the first one is going to be black, gray, and pink. So what I do with the tiles is I take, once they're all dry and I varnish them, I put a sawtooth hanger on the back. I don't make coasters anymore. I don't do resin. So I couldn't really ever find a real good coating to make them okay to do coasters. But I do them, make them into just like an art tile. So now we're going to get some gray, give it a little shaky shake. But then we're going to dip this tile in, and I'm going to show you just a basic dip. And so this is just on a flat surface. Then we're going to dip on bubble wrap, and we're going to see if there's like a difference. So I think I need just a little bit. It's not quite, because I have a 6 by 6 inch tile. So I want my spot that size or just about that size. And the black has silicone. The paint is mixed up just like we mix all of our paint. It's mixed with Floetrol, and it's mixed either 3 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. And now I've got my my tile, and I'm just dipping it in there, dipping in this surface. And this is just a canvas, the brand new canvas that still has the plastic on it. And we lift up. Oh, we didn't get the center. We can just do it again if we have to. Okay, so one of the problems we're having. There we go. See, that muddied all up. We had to dip it too many times. And let me show you. Just a second. Let me wipe my hands. Sunny Wednesday. Awesome. It is sunny here. Okay. We are going to move this out of our way. So you need to have a flat surface. Okay, just a moment, guys. We're going to start over. Sorry. Oh my gosh. So what we were having an issue. So we're dipping. We've got, when I dipped this in this, it bowed, so it didn't get the middle. So I had to kind of push up on the center. So it's beautiful, but it's very gray. And so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to set this aside. We're going to go on a nice flat surface. We'll grab another tile, and I'm going to show you another example. We're going to just start over on that. Okay. But you could just wipe that tile clean. You can wipe that tile off and use that paint as like a background gray for something else. But what the problem was is when I went to dip it onto the canvas, it just bowed down. So same colors. So we've got white, We've got a little bit of this, I believe it is poodle pink or something. Some gray, and that's actually just mixed up from the black and the white together. And then we're going to get some black down. So we're going to first dip a couple of tiles, then we're going to dip a couple of canvases. Then we've got photo paper, and then we've got some wood items. So my paint is all mixed up with Floetrol. So if it's craft paint, I do use like Apple Barrel and some of the thinner paints. It's mixed 3 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. And then if it's like a medium body paint, a little bit thicker paint from the tube, it's 4 parts Floetrol to 1 part paint. Okay, so we're going to try this again, guys. We've got the same colors, and we'll only have to dip once because it's a harder surface. That's what we needed. And black has silicone, if you remember. Okay. There we go. Now we're grabbing our torch, but we probably don't need to, not much will happen. A few little cells. But the black does overtake it a bit. So what you can do is you can continue dipping on this, and you can continue adding colors and continue dipping. Hey, Amber, how are you doing? So what I want to do is I want to kind of set this one aside and now show you the difference. If we dip into bubble wrap too, that's kind of fun to show a difference. And then there's also called the reverse dip. So we're going to reverse dip. So we'll compare those two, that one I just did and this one here in just a moment. So now we're going to do it on the canvas. I have taped down some bubble wrap with the bubble side up. We're going to dip into the bubble wrap, but we also are going to remember that this last time we dipped on the canvas, we kind of had an issue with the center. This canvas is a little bit tighter. It might work a little bit better, but we're going to really push down a little bit harder because we remember that that was an issue. We're just putting the paint right here on the bubble wrap. Same colors, just to compare. And then we're going to do a couple of canvases, variety of colors. And then there's also, this is the dip technique. There's also a reverse dip technique, and we're going to do it with a plastic wrap, with saran wrap. So we're just got the same pink, the same black, a little bit of gray. All right, that gray doesn't want to come out for us, but we're going to make it. So the only thing with doing it on the bubble wrap, I like to do the dip because then you can peel it off and you have a skin to work with too to do different projects. With the bubble wrap, we're not going to really have a skin to be able to pull off there, but we'll see what we end up with. So now we have still a 6 by 6 inch. And we're just going to do the dip the same and check it out and see, compare the two. If we dip it on a flat surface or if we dip it on bubble wrap, is there a difference? All right. So there, let me set this. So you end up with a beautiful here, and you can continue dipping. You can continue, and we will grab this and we'll dip a couple wood items in this in just a moment. But we're going to set this aside for now, but we'll come back to this. But now let's compare. So we dipped into like just a flat surface, and then we dipped into the bubble wrap. Very similar, really. But I kind of like the bubble wrap. I kind of like the looks of the bubble wrap, but I mean, it's very similar. You're hanging in there. Oh, you're having a reaction to your thyroid med. Oh, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. That is no fun. Um, and there's nothing you can really, do about it. So, I'm so sorry to hear that. Well, hopefully, um, that'll you won't you can that'll go away very very soon, and your body will start adjusting better to it or whatever it needs. So you like the bubble wrap one better too? I like them both. I mean, they're both pretty fun colors. The black, I maybe a little bit less black in both. Black always tends to kind of take over, but they're both kind of fun. But so that was just to kind of compare. And this is with tiles, dipping on a flat surface and dipping on bubble wrap. Now we are going to do a reverse dip. So a reverse dip is very similar, but what we're going to do is we're going to put the paint down onto the canvas. This is a 10 by 10 inch canvas. We're going to put the paint onto the canvas. Then we're going to dip this, and this is just actually what this is. You can use plastic wrap like saran wrap and stuff like that, but this is the plastic off of a large canvas. So that's what we're going to use in just a moment. But first, we're going to do a flower is what we're going to do. So first, we're going to get a base of white. My base is just the cheap paint brand titanium white mixed with the Floetrol. My base is always just mixed the same. So you go through quite a bit of white. So we're going to get a nice layer of white down, no silicone in that or anything. And then we're going to get kind of a shape of a flower here in just a moment. Then we're going to reverse dip that. Just using just a basic little palette knife. It's a new med. Your body adjusting to it. Oh, well, hopefully it'll go away as soon as possible. I'm so sorry. No fun. So, all right, we're just spreading around the white, just making sure it goes down the sides a little bit, getting a nice layer of white. All right, and I just kind of give it a shaky to give the last little bit. And so now we're going to just do kind of a flower. We're going to do kind of almost like hearts is what it's going to look like, but it's going to be petals of flower. When we dip the plastic wrap, you'll be able to see it a little bit more. So that color actually did have silicone. And then we've got a little bit of just yellow ochre. We're going to put here in the center. Then we have another kind of purpley color. Oh, we're doing real well. Beautiful day. Is it beautiful day? Your side of the state? You know what? That's the same color, but without silicone. So we'll just continue to make it even. But now we're going to grab a different one. Beautiful, beautiful day here on this side of the state, on the western side of Washington. Our seeds are doing really well. We did have to go ahead and buy where they're at, there's a skylight, but with our gloomy northwest weather, we did have to buy a plant light. So we bought a plant light, and now our peppers are about this tall. Our little pepper seedlings. And so we've got peppers going. We've got several different kinds going. So, okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to dip that plastic wrap in, but I need to double check around me and make sure I have a landing place. You always need to have a landing place for your, once I, do that. So let me grab, because I'm going to now put the plastic wrap. So this is what is called a reverse dip. So now you can use plastic wrap, you can use a wet paper towel, you can use a dry paper towel. I actually have a video where I compare using all kinds of different stuff. I kind of like the plastic wrap. So this is just the plastic off of a canvas. And I've cut it a couple inches larger than my surface. I'm now just laying it very carefully across the surface, making sure that you can kind of pull it a little bit tight. You can kind of squish some of the air bubbles out as best as you can. You're going to have a few air bubbles. There's nothing you can do about getting every single one out, but you can kind of just, there's quite a bit of air bubble there. We want to get some of that out. Okay. So there we've got, and this is a reverse dip. Very bright and warm there. Yeah, it's about 70 degrees here. First day that's hit any sort of 70-degree weather here. So awesome. You're having a nice sunny day too. I love the beginning of spring and all the daffodils are blooming. And yes, so I'm going to grab the corners, bring it up to the, I've just grabbed opposite corners. It's just easier. Bring up all the corners and bring up and out of your way. All right. So now we can give that a little torchy, but you can see all the, you can see it all. You don't really have to torch it. The dip technique is kind of nice because you really don't have to torch a dip technique. The cells come about because of the surface tension of the silicone coming up through the different densities of paint. And so the torch, all it does is kind of help that along. But the dip technique, because of the surface tension, it just creates cells anyways. So that first plum color was Craft Smart Plum. It had silicone. Then the yellow ochre also had silicone. So last year we grew all kinds of things in our, just like a container garden and a bunch of containers on our patio. And we have a very, very small backyard. So we couldn't really grow anything in the ground. So last year, our peppers we started them way too late. So that's why we are starting our peppers first this year. And then this following week, we'll start some other seeds. But last year, our peppers were the very last thing. We started them way too late and they didn't really do much anything. So we're kind of excited this year. They're growing pretty good. But we have 7 different types, some sweet peppers, some hot peppers, and then we have a bunch of herbs. And then we have cucumbers, zucchini plants, carrots. I've got a couple of sweet potatoes and a couple of regular potatoes, like starting, their starts. And so last year we did sweet potatoes in a container and they worked perfect. That was kind of awesome to see. But here you guys go. This is an example of a reverse dip, just a real quick reverse dip. At this point, you can also take and you can kind of bring in these and kind of define the petals a little bit. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can just leave it. But you can pull them out. You can do all kinds of stuff to kind of make it look even more like a flower. So what I am doing is I'm just wiping the skewer through and then I'm kind of wiping it clean on my rag every time. So there's the reverse dip. And now we're going to do a couple other dips. Thank you guys. Oh, 94 in Tucson. Ooh, see, I don't do well with heat. I would never do well with 94 degrees this early in the year. It gets way too hot for me in the summer for out there. Thank you guys. Thank you. You are painting on your porch. That is awesome. We can't really, there's a very short window of the year we can paint on like our porch or anything like that. So, all right. I did get a little bit of paint on that, but that's okay. We're going to wipe that off. Now we're going to do reverse dip, or not reverse dip. These are just regular dips into these 2 canvases. So I'm going to show you real quick a couple of canvases. So this is going to be the background for a collage. So these are going to be dipped with some blues and white, and they're going to be they're going to go on a undersea collage. So let me show you. So this is where I just brush painted the background, but we're going to do a dip for the background for something similar. So this is photo paper that I ran through my Cricut. I paint poured on photo paper, then I ran it through my Cricut, then I've just adhered these different shapes down. So these next two canvases we're going to do in whites and blue and turquoise, and it's going to be a background for another scene like this. So we don't want it super, super busy. We want it really kind of on the lighter side, but that's just kind of an example. And this isn't done. This is in a work in progress. So, and I started this on a live stream probably a year and a half ago. I did this on a live stream, and then I set it up on a shelf, and I have just never finished it. So I'll have to finish this soon too. So we're going to set that aside. And I'm going to paint pour on some papers here in a few so you guys can see that process. So we're going to want this nice and light so it's not too busy. So we're going to use quite a bit of white. So white is the only color I'm going to put on both canvases. Otherwise, I'm just going to be working on that right canvas. And then we're almost going to be out of white today. We'll have to mix up a little bit more. That's no problem. So, all right, now we're going to grab kind of some darker blues towards the bottom. But we're going to mainly put this color, we're going to put a little bit, but mainly the darker towards the bottom. We're going to mainly put this color on this right canvas. Then we're going to dip both in. Oh, hey, Whitney, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much. How are you guys doing? How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. We're doing a background to a kind of an ocean scene. So we're going to kind of do the lighter colors to the top, a little bit darker colors to the bottom here. And we're going to put quite a bit of paint because it's for two canvases. But just kind of randomly putting the paint down, grabbing just some lighter colors here. And then one more little bit darker blue. Those are all mixed with Floetrol. The last darker blue I put down and that turquoise has silicone. So we're going to see a pop of cells. Yeah, you don't like the heat either? Yeah, I don't. That's why Washington is so nice. I don't mind the rain and the weather we have. I love the weather we have here. I like 4 seasons. That's what's amazing about the weather we have here is a really good 4 seasons. We have our summer, our winter, our spring, our fall. So doing pretty good. Awesome, awesome. Yeah, I love the outdoors. We do a lot of hiking, a lot of camping. We didn't get to last summer. I mean, everybody's last summer was just totally different than normal. But normally we do a lot of hiking, camping, outdoor stuff. So I'm going to put just kind of a little bit more of just a medium blue here. So, okay, now we're going to so this is going to be a background. Both of these will be a background for like an undersea or kind of an ocean. So I'm kind of just making sure I'm getting it all the way to the edge. And what I like to do is I like to actually now turn that over and kind of do the same. Okay, so now at this point, if you can figure out the direction you kind of want your water to go, kind of in a way. So you could go it this way, then I'm going to show you real quick. It's going to give you, that direction. See, and look at what we got going on. We're going to go. That's what's nice about they're all the same color. I don't know if you saw, but the middle was not. We're going to go the same direction when we open it up. So, all right, let me wipe my hands off. Then we'll give it a little torch, but we really don't need to torch it. It is creating cells. You're seeing a lot of cells just pop up on its own. So this will be a background. And you could take, where did I set those all? the little wood items that are all painted. So at this point, you could take and put like one of these in the middle, kind of stand out. It's kind of nice. You could take and collage, you know, some of the stuff on it. You can also just brush paint, like I've just painted seahorses and different things on it. But this is a great, dips are a great way to do a nice basic background too. So now if you look, I pulled them apart this way. So you kind of get striations kind of this way. You can also dip them apart the other way. It just depends on the orientation of what direction you kind of want it to go. But thank you guys. Thank you. Mike likes the stormy weather. Mike's very into weather. He loves to watch the storm chasers and he's very into the weather. So, all right, guys, here's an example of how to just do like a dip with two different canvases together. And then these will dry and they can become a background. They can be just plain on their own. You don't have to make them a background. They can be just done right on their own. So, all right. It's popped a couple of bubbles there, but really, I mean, you could just left it. You don't have to have a torch for the dip technique. So, all right, I'm going to get that out of the way. And then I think we should do some paper. So what I do is I use photo paper. Let me show you real quick an examples. Oh, actually, I have a couple of other things. Real quick before I do that. I have those two things that I had brought up. So these are both from the Dollar Tree. We're actually going to dip these real quick first. It's hard to pick up with gloves. Come on, work with me. Couldn't even pick it up. So, all right, we're going to dip those real quick before we move on. Then we'll do the photo paper. So we're going to do these real quick. And I have got just this plastic black stuff. You can use, what I also use is the Dollar Tree has a 2-pack of cutting boards. They're clear plastic cutting boards. They're about this. They work perfect to dip onto and to paint pour onto. Or if you've got these silicone mats, you can just put your paint right on here and dip right onto here. But what we're gonna do is we're gonna dip onto this so we can move it aside then and move on to something else. So we're gonna put some paints down on here and then we're gonna dip. These are both from the Dollar Tree. A unicorn, I believe this is MDF. And then there's this love sign. So we're going to dip right on those ones. So we're going to put some, you know, unicorn, girly, purples, pinks, maybe a little turquoise. So this is kind of long. We may have to dip it kind of twice, and I'll show you that. So I'm putting some purples down. We'll put some pinks. And we'll dip that unicorn first, then we'll dip that other one. Oh yeah, I bet you get some really, really intense thunderstorms out there on your side of the state. So some pinks. And I even have some like fluorescent pink I might use in this one. Here's some real nice and fluorescent. And I think we, for good measure, make it a nice unicorn. I kind of like the turquoise kind of contrast in there. Real nice and bright. All right. So now we have this unicorn. And so if you're going to pour right on this and you leave a lot of paint on the surface, you might would want to gesso it. MDF will kind of like warp in a way. But if you like a dip technique, you're not going to leave a ton of paint there on the surface. So it's a little bit better if you're here, I'm going to grab one more kind of purpley color in there. And then we got plenty of paint there. But since I'm going to dip when you're dipping, you're not going to leave a bunch of paint on the surface. So I've had no problem with MDF. I haven't had to like gesso it or anything. If I do like a dirty pour on it, or where you're kind of leaving a lot more, you got to be aware of how much paint you're leaving on the surface. But so a dip doesn't seem to warp if you just. So my plan with this is I'm going to paint it, and then when it gets all nice and dry, I'm going to put a hanger here, and so it'll be just kind of a wall hanger. Be super cute. So let's dip that. We're just kind of pressing around, making sure we get all the surfaces. Then what's kind of fun with these is you can glitter the horns, and that's kind of cool kind of look. So there you go. There's that dipped. Let's give that a little bit of a torchy. Just kind of help it along so you can see it quicker. But what I sometimes do is I'll glitter the horn or put a little bit of gold leafing on the horn. Excuse me. How long do I leave my paint mix in my bottle? So I've had them in there like a year and a half, but at times, I start to notice they kind of don't really work well. They kind of start giving you little chunkies. And, so I tend to try to use it up between about 8-9 months. I think you're completely safe to use it, especially if you use like distilled water. If you use tap water, you have more of a possibility to like mold and stuff like that. But if you use like distilled water when you're mixing up, if you're going to store them like longer term, I seem to have no problems till about 8-9 months. And then usually about that time, about 9-10 months, I think the paint or the Floetrol or something starts to break down, and then you kind of get chunks, and you kind of start getting just issues with the right consistency and all that. But you're pretty good for 8 or 9 months. So all right, so we did that. Now I would like to do this, but let's see. Let's just kind of see how. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to dip kind of twice. We're going to dip the LOV, and then we're going to dip the E. So I still have the tag on it. I probably should have cut that off, but I'm going to go ahead and just leave it. So we're going to dip part of it, and then we're going to turn around and dip the other very carefully. Okay. Now I'm going to kind of bring it to the edge of my work surface so I can just get that last. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over and very carefully dip that other side so you can kind of see how that. All right, so let's get the tag. We might need to turn it around, get that tag out of the way. I don't want the tag to go in the unicorn. So there we go. Those are some nice, bright, those would look super cute in a little girl's room. So what I'll do is once these are all dry, I will paint the back. Sometimes I take a gold paint marker and go around the edges and make the edges gold, but this will need the edges and the back painted, and then it hangs on a little burlap strap or what is that, jute or whatever. So, and they start to kind of smell funky, yeah, after a long time. Especially if you use tap water. I have noticed that if you use tap water, they kind of will start to smell and kind of go bad a little bit sooner. If you use the distilled water, if you're going to store, if you use tap water and use up your paint within a week, you have no problem. Use tap water all you want. But if you're going to store it, I would say past a week or two, your paint, mix it up and store it longer term in bottles or something. Use distilled water, and then it lasts for 8-9 months. You have quite a bit of time. So, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and we're going to set this aside, give you a little bit better look at those. No torch. Silicone was in the turquoise and the darker purple. You know what? I'm noticing just a tiny little on his nose. There we go. We had little tiny, you just want to look before it dries, make sure. And if you do have a little spot missing, you can just dip your glove and just kind of give it a little, no problem. So, all right, we're going to set this aside and then we're going to do the photo paper. So, and then this, we have a bonus here. This will dry. Then this will peel right off of here. So like this one we did from those other ones, and this is just peels right off. I can put this on a Cricut mat and run this through my Cricut if it's thick enough. This is nice and thick. You probably don't, it would be a hassle to peel this off of a Cricut mat. And a Cricut is just a cutting machine. It has a blade and it just has, it cuts different shapes. And you just hook it up to your computer and cut all kinds of shapes from it. It's a Cricut, Cricut, for those that aren't familiar with those. And there's a few other cutting machines out there. But if it's nice and thick enough, you can put this on a Cricut machine and run it through. So that's what kind of the bonus you get from there. But so now we're going to do some of those. I want to show you. So like this one, I did photo paper. I did dips on photo paper. And then I just ran it through my Cricut machine and cut them out and then collaged them on here. Yes, they start smelling gross and get kind of slimy chunks. I call them kind of boogers. It's gross, but kind of boogers. Yeah, I learned the hard way as well. So this is with on the photo paper, then ran it through the Cricut, just some hexagons, then put it here on this canvas. So I'm going to show you here a couple others so like you can run through. And so like this on that one background I did would be super cute. You know, different shapes. This has got, I got to touch up the edge, but you can do all kinds, but that's with photo paper. So I just get photo paper and do it on the shiny side of the photo paper. And then you can just do all kinds of stuff with this. So we're going to show, so all I do is I put the paint, well, I'm going to show you in just a moment, and then just dip them together. Smush them, smush technique, dip technique, whatever you want to call it. So, all right, we've got a whole bunch of photo paper and I do it on the shiny side just to make things easier to move things. I put a thing here, and that's just to move it aside to move it onto the drying rack to do, and you can do these super fast, super fun to experiment with different colors. If you're not sure about how some colors will go together, super great idea to just do it with these. So, all right. It's kind of hard to work with gloves on. It's a little bit easier without them. So we're just going to put a variety of color. This is that Craft Smart Plum. And I just put the paint on the shiny side on one of the papers. And then I just smush them together. You can make jewelry. You can make anything you want with these. I've cut them into strips, weaved them. I have done just all kinds of different. And I've got different live streams, different videos where I've made Christmas cards, cut them out and made Christmas cards. All kinds of different ideas. I mean, the ideas are endless for this when you can collage and make into like scrapbooking little accents and just all kinds of stuff. Oh, the Cricuts, they're super expensive. Super expensive. I am thankful that I actually was given mine. It was my Christmas gift a couple years ago from my mom. So I am super thankful for that. They are terribly expensive. In my opinion, they're super expensive. And it just depends on how much you would use it. So this is just plenty of paint here. I'm just getting a few colors down. Now I am going to squish those together and show you. But there's also, so a Cricut is all digital, and it's all through, there's a design space, and you can cut out all kinds of different shapes and stuff. Then there's also like the Big Shot, and that's like a manual one. And I can't remember what the other, but there is some that are a little bit cheaper, but you have to buy the dies for those. But sometimes you can find people getting rid of them on like Marketplace and different stuff on Facebook. I actually have an affiliate link for Cricut. I'm not sure if I have it in the description, but I don't know. They are spendy. I do have an affiliate link somewhere. So I'm just kind of making sure I'm getting the paint to the edges. And you can get photo paper anywhere. Costco photo paper, Kirkland photo paper works great. The Dollar Tree has actual Polaroid brand photo paper, but you only get like, I think 8 sheets or something. But there's all kinds of brands of photo paper. So what'll happen is I just lay these aside, let them dry. It will take a few days for them to dry. And then you can cut them up. You can do whatever you want to make all kinds of art with them. But they will warp a little, but you can kind of see like, I mean, a little bit of warpage, you know, but they pretty much dry nice and flat. And it's a great way to, I'm just getting a little bit of a bald spot there. Sometimes I just help along on the edges a bit, just because I don't like to waste any of it. But it's a great way to use up like experiment with lots of different color techniques. But there's some beautiful areas that you could cut out for jewelry. You could cut out for anything. Yeah, so that's what I originally got the Cricut for, was to do vinyl. So you can get the cut out vinyl, use the pores as a background, do a canvas like a background, and then put vinyl on it. I had an issue with getting the vinyl to stick, so you just got to get the right kind of vinyl. I later found out I did not have the right kind of vinyl. You want the permanent one. So I'm not the biggest expert of vinyl. I kind of got frustrated, but that's the decals. You can cut them out with vinyl and then put them on. But apparently I had later talked to somebody, and I was using more of a temporary vinyl, so it was not sticking to the acrylic pores. But you want to get the permanent one. So, and you notice I pulled those away this way. The next one, we're going to pull them away lengthwise. So here is, and that's just kind of a dip or a smush or whatever you want to call it. We're going to do more of the actual dips here in just a moment. So I just set those aside on my drying rack. And then we'll do a couple more of the photo paper. And then we'll do some little Easter little wood items. So let me grab some more. 2 more of these plastic sheets. I have a ton of these plastic sheets. They work great for this type of thing. So again, we're just got the shiny side of the photo paper up. And it can take quite a bit of paint. You can do all kinds of, here in just a moment, the next one we'll do. So you can do also like an actual design and smash it together too. I'll do more of a landscape here in just a moment and show that. Great way to use up the last little bits of paint as well. Get a couple of different shades of red, some crimson, some scarlet. We're going to kind of go just kind of rainbow here. A whole bunch of rainbow colors. Whimsy smush, yeah. So now we just got a nice bright orange. And see, I have my paint mixed up in water bottles, mixed up in all kinds of things. And then we got to get some nice yellow. Get a whole bunch of colors of the rainbow. I have done a, this one that I gotta poke the lid just a moment. I did a rainbow one. And then cut out on the Cricut a skyline of Seattle. That was really pretty. The yellow does not want to come out. I am squeezing it. It does not want to come out. So, all right, now let's get some, sorry about that, bumped the camera. I try not to do that. Some nice bright green. We're going to do just all the colors of the rainbow. Smush those together. So one of the things that really works well, so certain colors, you know, if you do a paint pour with orange and purple, if you do a paint pour with, you know, just certain colors opposite of the color wheel, you'll get mud. One good thing about the dip technique, as long as you just dip it a couple times, if you dip it a bunch, of course you're going to get mud. But the first few times you dip it, you can actually dip some contrasting colors and not get mud. It's kind of nice. So we've got purple, we've got blue, we've got green, orange, a couple of different reds because we ran out of that one. We got some yellow, some nice rainbow colors. We're going to smush that. All right. Making some room, some elbow room. So you just randomly put the paint down and you smush it together. And that's to create either a background or create little skins to be able to jewelry or collage or whatever. Next one, we're going to actually kind of make it more of an intentional design. Maybe a beach or something. So, all right, now this one I'm actually going to pull lengthwise, and it really not much of a difference, just the striations will go the opposite way. So all I'm doing is just kind of pushing the edge, trying to just kind of get the whole surface. And then you just pull them apart. Did get a little bit of a bald spot. And then you just sit back and watch the cells pop up. It does take a moment. They're not there right away. Then they just kind of pop all up. Nice, fun, bright kind of rainbow one there. And you can, if you're seeing like you have a bunch of air bubbles, but sorry, I hit the thing again. So you can give it a quick torch. I mean, you got to remember this is paper. And I do have plastic under the paper, but you can give it a quick torch. So, all right, there is one with a bunch of rainbow colors. Now, next, we're going to kind of do a more intentional beach one. Just setting that aside. And it'll continue to, a few more cells are popping up even as we speak. And you will get one side where it's a little bit, they won't match up. They won't be mirrored. So this side has got even prettier, nice cells on it. A nice variety of different size cells too. And they'll continue to pop up. So, all right, last one of the paper. And then we're going to go to some Easter little wood items. So you can do a dip, a reverse dip. You can do a dip onto canvas, a dip onto tile, a dip onto wood things, photo paper. You can do so much with the dip technique. I love to make magnets with the dip technique, and it's very fast. It's also a very fast technique. It's a great technique for beginners as well. So, all right, let me grab a little bit of brown. Let's go ahead and put, there's our beach, okay? There's the sand. Now we'll put some, and this is very abstract. It's not going to be perfect. It's going to be very abstract. So now let's do a horizon line about there. So now's our ocean, and then we'll do a little bit of sky. These also look beautiful, cutting out shapes and putting them into like a floater frame. The real pretty floater frames. That looks really nice. Hey, JW, welcome. Welcome. Congratulations on your channel growth. Your channel's really growing. I was looking at that. Congratulations. Thanks for stopping by. It's going pretty good. a live stream every Wednesday, and I just show different paint pouring. This is fluid acrylics. And this is on photo paper. So we do a different technique or a different little theme every Wednesday on the here. But Mike is part, well, I guess he likes to watch. He's part of the coin community, my husband Mike. So JW is over from some of the channels that Mike watches. So thank you for stopping by. Awesome. Well, I hope you had a good day at work. And so yeah. Mike likes to watch, he collects coins and he watches a lot of the coin community guys. And so awesome. We're just going to grab another kind of beach color here. And so we've got kind of beach, ocean, and then kind of a sky. And so you just kind of get it down on most of the surface. And then you just squish in the other one. So, all right, we're going to see if we can get any white to kind of give us some. And why don't we have a little bit of gray in the sky? So it's going to be very abstract, but I'm just showing that you can do kind of a more of a controlled or intentional design. And these look awesome in like the floater frames. So we are now got the photo paper. We're doing it on the shiny side. We're just squishing them together. Kind of just running. You're not really wiping. You're getting a little bit on gloves and getting everywhere. It's quite a messy deal. But you're not rubbing real hard. Just kind of lightly to the surface. So now we're going to want to just... So that kind of gives us kind of a beach and a sky and the ocean waves. So what you can do with these, you can use these as a background as well, and then collage onto them. You can do brushwork onto them. You can use them also for like cards or scrapbooking or any type of paper crafts. You can also decoupage with them. I like to use matte medium, Liquitex matte medium to glue them with. I'm allergic to glue, so I can't use actually Elmer's glue, but Elmer's glue works too. You can use, or Mod Podge. You can do adhere these to like the sides of tissue boxes and all kinds of wood items, plastic items, and you can cut out shapes. You can just, and it's a super easy, cheap way. This photo paper is pretty cheap to be able to just experiment with different designs. So, all right, guys. There, and you can do it with a sunset. You can do all kinds of stuff. So we have no silicone, and the silicone is what creates our cells. We have no silicone in the beach. We do have silicone in that turquoise, and no silicone in the sky. So you do get some little tiny cells, and that's just from the surface tension, is all that is from. So notice I did go this way to create the kind of ocean waves. But you could do it landscape as well. So you don't have to do them just random, like the last two I did. You can do them kind of in a design. So these do take a couple days to completely dry. But they dry a lot quicker than, say, a canvas. It's a great way to experiment. So, okay, we're setting those aside. Now we are going to grab, I've got a bunch of these from the Dollar Tree, these like kind of Easter things. So $1 came 8 of them for $1. Sorry, it's kind of loud, crinkly. Let me just get that packaging out of here. It's a little bit loud. So it does come with, throw those away. Okay, so it does come with these. You can make these into But what these are really cool too, people make the wreaths, like the mesh wreath or the different little spring wreaths, or these are super cute to decorate, and they can glue a few to the wreaths. They're cute to put them on like as a little gift tag, or just a little couple of them in a little Easter basket for the kids. They're super fun project to do with the kids. This is super easy, fun project. So we got some little chicks, we got some eggs, and we got some bunnies. But the kids love to do these. These are super fun project with them. So they just come with these. I don't use these. I use then the cheapo little thin ribbon is what I use. Set that aside for a different project is what I do. So I just have keep your fingers off those paintings. Yes, you learned at the beginning. We ruined a few of those and learned quick. Do not touch. They wait a while till they dry. So we're going to just set up a few of these. We just got little fruit cups, yogurt cups, pudding cups, whatever. We're going to get a kind of variety out here. And then we're going to dip these. Some fun, nice pastel Easter colors. So, all right, let's make a couple more. Room for just a couple more. We won't do all these. That'll take forever. But it's a nice, quick, fun, but messy little project with the little ones. So, all right, let's get a variety out here. Some eggs, some bunnies, some chicks. And then this will be the last that we do today. All right, so we'll do these today. We still have one of these, guys. Yes, the canvases take 3 to 4 weeks to dry. So it'll look dry, and then you go to touch it, and it's not dry, and you'll trick yourself and make a mess. So, all right, what we're going to do is we're going to start with just putting a couple of colors down. And then we're going to add to that as we go. So we're going to put some purple and pink. We'll do the first couple, just purple and pink. Maybe some of this brighter pink. I almost grabbed the light one. All right, and then we can add colors to the next few. So, and then the wood, so the canvases take 3 to 4 weeks to dry. They say all the way to cure is what it's called. But, and then the wood items, it depends on the time of the year. It depends on your climate, your humidity, but they dry about closer to about 2 weeks. And then the paper only takes like 3-4 days at max. But it's really variable. It depends on your temperature, your humidity, all kinds of stuff. So your thickness of your paint. So I dipped one in. And then these would be fun to also like personalize for, you could write their little name on it and put it in their Easter basket or whatever. And it's also, we got to keep the cats out of it. We also have had an issue. We've got 2 kitties, and they have walked across a couple of different paintings. So you can dip a couple of different times. You can dip, as many times as you want till you notice the paint starting to get a little bit muddied. Then you can add in your same colors, or you can decide we're going to do some pink and purple. Then we might as well add some blues and greens. And so I'll show you adding more and more colors. But today we dipped on tiles. We dipped on paper. We dipped on canvases. You can do it with just all kinds. So, all right, let's go ahead at this point, add a little bit more of the purple. And then we're going to add some blue in. Thank you. They are super easy. You can make them into refrigerator magnets. They are so many things. And I mean, they're 8 for $1. And look how trying to get it without knocking it. Easy and cute. Super easy and cute. So we're going to add a little bit of blue in now with the same colors, just a little bit of, we'll add a couple colors at a time. Excuse my reach. All right, now we'll dip a couple more. Let's dip one of these little chicks in. But these will be the last for today's live stream. So today was the dip technique. And then next week we will be doing open cup. So like open cylinder, we've got napkin ring paint pours, we've got toilet paper paint pours, like the cardboard toilet paper roll paint pours. We've got just a whole bunch of different open cylinders. So that'll be next week, open cup. We'll even cut like the bottom of a cup off and just use the ring of the cup with the bottom cut off. And then the following week, I think we will do like string pulls. And then we will do like blown pours and Dutch pours. So each week we do a different technique every Wednesday. We did not dip on Mike today, Mr. Doughboy. They have kind of a little fun. They go back and forth about throwing paint at Mike, and it's kind of fun little joke here on the channel. So, all right, just dipping these in each time, kind of just pressing them down nice and getting all the surface, and then just pull them up. And no problem. Look at, we got a little bit of a, and it'll kind of sink and blend in, and then you won't see that too much. So, all right, now let's add a couple more colors in. So let's go ahead and add a little bit more of the blue. It's blended in. And, oh, there it is. And let's add some green or something like that. Oh, I didn't know that, JW. That's awesome. Yeah, it's mesmerizing. It's pretty mesmerizing to watch. That's awesome. So now we're going to add in a little bit of turquoise in the mix. We're just kind of adding some nice Easter, calming, fun colors for Easter. Next time we'll add some more green. But the dip technique is a nice basic beginner technique. And it's a great technique, pretty versatile technique. And so I just love the dip technique. My favorite is the swipe technique. And then my second favorite is probably dips. But yeah, and then I've got the next probably 5 or 6 live streams planned out, the different techniques. And then at that point, we will probably go into like more like frequently asked questions and doing some like color theory and troubleshooting. So we have about 5 more techniques, 5 more weeks of techniques to learn. And then we'll go into some of the other frequently asked questions, troubleshooting, that type of stuff. So, all right, now I'm going to add in a little bit of green. Well, I'm going to try to. Notice I'm really bad about getting the lids on these. So sometimes I have to take the skewer and kind of poke a hole because I have forgotten to put the lid on. Yeah, Mike's done a couple. He actually, he's done a couple that turned out really beautiful. They're super fun. Modern abstract, yes. Actually, surprisingly, this paint pouring dates back all the way to the 20s. I actually have a video on the history of paint pouring, and it's really cool. I researched it back, and it goes back to the 20s. And then, of course, Pollock, and there's been a few different famous artists that kind of use similar techniques. And then also, for instance, Janis Joplin's car. Janis Joplin's car was done in a very similar pouring technique. You make a mess, you call it expressionism. Yes. Oh, that's awesome. So we are starting to get kind of muddied. We have done 2, 4, 6. So we have done 7 of them and we're starting to get muddied. So you can kind of see I started with just kind of some purples. Then I added some, pinks, some blues, I didn't start off right off the bat with greens and purples and everything. Because if we would have done 7 and I've added colors to it, to not muddy it so well. I kind of chose that intentionally each time. So now we're going to add a little bit more. Same colors. Just a little bit more because they're starting to muddy up. Starting to get too mixed in. And that's what I mean by muddy. Starting to mix in. Yeah, Janis Joplin's car. I believe it was Porsche. It was her Porsche. It was done in, I believe it was one side or one fender, not the whole car. But it was done in some very similar techniques as paint pouring. So it dates back all the way to the 20s. Then they did it. It kind of had a resurgence, it started in the 20s, kind of went away, wasn't so popular. And then in the 60s and 70s, it kind of came out again, a little bit popular, kind of went away. So it's kind of had its kind of ebbs and flows, coming in and out of popularity. Then, of course, the last, 3, 4 years has been very popular. I started in, it's unsure if it's December of 2013 or January 2014, but that's about when I started. Look at that dreamy, just beautiful marbling of those pastel Easter springy colors. That one's pretty. I like that one. And as you notice, as they've sat here, they've kind of evolved and more colors pop up. But yeah, I have a video all about the history of paint pouring. Kind of fun little project I did a while back, probably a year and a half ago. But I have so many videos, it's hard to tell what I have videos on. I have over 500 actually at this point. So... those in view, yeah, you guys can see those. So this will be the last one for today. So if you guys have any questions, please let me know. Now is the time to let me know if you have any questions. And then I do have a couple of videos coming out later this week. I have a real fun one from the Dollar Tree stuff. And then I have some more split cup videos. I have a beautiful flip cup video that was some nice neutral, lighter colors, earthy kind of neutrals. And so I've got a few different videos that I have to finish editing, but they're all in the works. So these beautiful little additions to Easter gifts, to put on a wreath. You can do all kinds of things with these. Super fun. And the Dollar Tree usually has these in all year round. They'll have like sailboats, hearts. What all do they have? They have hearts, flowers, turtles, a mermaid, dinosaurs, whole bunch of different shapes all year round. And then seasonally, they'll have like some Christmas ones, some Easter ones. They have a bunch of these seasonally as well. So there you go, guys. There is a whole bunch of different examples of a dip technique. Yeah, the stuff I put in the paint. So I add, I have 1 part paint to 3 or 4 parts Floetrol. And that's what I use as my pouring medium is Floetrol. And then I just have 1 or 2 drops of spot on treadmill oil. So that's 100% silicone. And a little bit goes a long way. I literally only have 1 or 2 drops in a few different colors. But there's a few different silicone products I've used, but this is my favorite one. But that is what creates what we call cells. The little round dot, those are called cells, and that's what you're going to get those from. You can achieve cells from just like the densities of your paint and the consistency of your paint, and Floetrol does tend to create cells on its own, but to really get the tons of cells, this stuff. Yep. Mike says Floetrol will also create cells within certain paints. Yeah, you just kind of learn that it's all about the consistency of your paint and the different densities of your paint. It's kind of a little science project. But after lots of experimenting and trial and error, you just kind of get used to what getting the perfect consistency. You want like a crepe batter, like if you were making crepes, is kind of the consistency you're going for most techniques. There are a couple techniques where you want a little thicker and you want a little thinner. So yeah, it's just all trial and error and experimenting. But I've got a beginner paint pour series at a few weeks ago that we started these live streams. We started with the supplies. We started with mixing up. We did like comparison of different pouring mediums, and you need a pouring medium to make it fluid, like, because I use different paints in the tubes, I use different paints in little bottles, different consistency of paint, and to make them all the same consistency I add Floetrol. It's also self-leveling, and there's lots of reasons you add Floetrol, but it just gives kind of flow to your paint. But yeah, so this was the last one for today, guys. Let's check back on these. Let's see. We've got quite a ton of cells. That one. And notice this is a mess if it was just the whole piece. You're going to pick out the little bits and parts that you really like and make into collage and jewelry and stuff. But yeah, we did a whole bunch today. Oh, one more. We do actually have one more thing. One more we cannot forget. I actually have one more. So we've got these boxes from the Dollar Tree. These little boxes. So what Mike did is he helped me and he papered and taped. So we just have the top to dip. So we're going to dip it right in these colors, but we're going to go ahead and I did one of these on my video the other day, and I'll show you. Just kind of adding, because this up here is kind of muddier. We've got a little section that's not so muddy. We're kind of adding the same colors to kind of just extend that design down. So any last minute questions while I just do this one last item? Oh, thank you, Janice. You're awesome. You're such a great support. You're always here. Thank you so much. Next week is going to be super fun too. I love doing napkin ring paint pours and toilet paper paint pours. So that's going to be super awesome. So now we're going to dip just the top in. So I've got it papered and taped. I'm going to dip the top in, and then when it's all dry in a few days, I'll take the paper and tape off, and I'll paint the sides probably like this purple, or I'll stain the sides. But this is one of them, how it dries. And that hasn't been varnished yet, but that's kind of. So I'm going to do one last item, guys. One last item. And these make great little gift boxes, ring boxes, or also they make great tooth fairy boxes. You can leave your teeth in them for the tooth fairy, and then the tooth fairy leave their little present in them instead of putting under your pillow. They make sweet little gifts for little kids for like a tooth fairy box, little keepsake box. So all right, now that is officially my last one, guys. So maybe we'll give it a little torchy torch. And then this, we'll just save this and it'll peel right off. And that's just a chef's torch, and I'm just giving it a quick, breaking any bubbles, pulling that silicone to the surface. So, all right, guys. Thank you so much. I've got some videos coming out later this week. And then will be live next week, Wednesday at 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. Same time every week, 2 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, every Wednesday. Ooh, some of the cells popping up right through there. Glad it's my last one so we can let that dry. That'll make a beautiful pendant right there. But all right, guys. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. I appreciate each and every one of you. I appreciate you all. You guys are all so awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And if you happen to think of a question or have any questions later on down the road, you can always comment and I will answer any questions. So all right, guys, be the change you want to see in the world, guys. Be the change you want to see in the world. All right, guys, have an awesome week. Thank you so much for hanging out. Have a good one.